What's up? Think International bringing you the best and brightest leaders of our generation. I'm here with Ruslan from theBREAX, a hip-hop group. How you doing, man?
Chilling, man. Just enjoying this SoCal weather and this SoCal living, you know? Doing good, man.
For real. Hey, I got a big question for you because you guys just came out with a new album. How does one go from what comes in your head, your heart, and then actually making it into a full-on production? What is your creative flow with that?
A lot of it is community, being in community, being around people that think and think like us, but also challenge us. So, you know, our church home is important. And then just living a balanced, self-controlled, disciplined lifestyle. You know, being able to know the difference between perfection and productivity, and knowing where's that balance between I want something perfect to, hey, we need to get this done, you know. And so there's a lot of it that goes into all the different elements of creating that you have to consider goals and deadlines and branding and a business plan and marketing, but then you also got to be an artist and kind of let it come out naturally. So it's just a juggling act a lot of times, just finding that balance, you know, as an artist.
How have you found that balance? I mean, like, what are some like practical things that you're doing that you know?
Probably my wife, man. I have a great wife who holds me accountable, and it's kind of like, hey, we set some goals, we got to reach these goals, and if we don't reach these goals, you can't be running around rapping much longer. So it's like we set really realistic goals, and they're measurable, and my wife kind of keeps me accountable to those things, man. So a lot of it is yeah, my wife, my church family, again, you know, pastors that'll sit me down, and you know, and then just understanding like that my number one call as a man is to provide, and is to lead, and is to love my wife. And so everything kind of gets funneled through that, you know. As long as I'm loving, I'm leading, and I'm providing, then, you know, we kind of balance everything through that funnel. Yeah.
Now, how long have you been producing music, you know, hip-hop, doing the whole deal?
Oh man, I've been making music about 10 years. I started in high school really aggressively. This is before everyone had a home computer, so I learned on analog gear and the MPC Akai's and the Korg Tritons, and you know, just refined it and worked hard at it and practice, and now it's, you know, getting to a point where a little bit of recognition. So
now how have you progressed? You know, the music industry has changed so much because of computers and because of people being able to produce their own stuff. And you know, CD sales are different now than they used to be because everything's MP3 and the whole deal. How have you morphed with that?
I think it's just remaining creative and remaining engaged into culture and engaged into what's going on, not being one of those guys that's just, you know, disgruntled with the changes and like, oh, and back in my days, right. Like, no, like, it's cool. Like, the stuff that's happening now is super cool. It's the best time ever to be an independent artist, to be in charge of your own career and your own, you know, your own vision. And it's reading a lot. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of articles. Keep up with a lot of blogs. Right. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly learning, and I just want to be well aware and well refined and what's going on with my industry and what's going on and where things are going and what's the next step and what are some of the different elements that go into play and the different variables, you know, and just studying, a lot of reading, lots of reading, yeah.
Play a show so my DJ can make you scratch.
Being an independent artist and really in a specific genre that isn't like you know, super mainstream. I mean, it's mainstream, but the stuff you guys do has a great message to it. Positive, like you said, support positive hip hop. Boom. Are you able to make a living and to fund these projects that you do from this stuff? Yeah,
I mean, every year is closer and closer. So like this year is very, very well. This year is going great. I'm excited. A lot of really, really cool opportunities and creating multiple streams of income that I'm not just a rapper, or I'm not, you know, we're doing shows, we're merchandising, we're selling merch, I'm producing for other artists, I'm recording other artists. So it's, you know, you can't be everything to everyone, but you can find those things that you're passionate and you're good at and figure out ways to create different streams of income. And that's what I've been doing. And again, a lot of reading. By no means am I balling, and like, I still work a job and I love my job and I love health insurance. and I love the stability of a consistent paycheck.
Because you got a wife.
Because I have a wife, and I don't really plan on quitting my job anytime soon. Because even if I, if I would, like, I'm making more money from my job than I am from my, from my music than I am from my job. But I'd have to be making like a ridiculous amount of money and be ridiculously busy. Because I just, as a musician, I mean, there's only so many hours you can spend in the studio. You can't spend 12 hours a day in the studio. Like, you just can't. Like, you won't get anything done. So it's finding that balance of like, hey, I love this. However, I know that as an artist, I could peak 4, 5, 6, 7 hours if I'm not traveling, and I can't really do much outside of that. And I'm able to work a job and still, spend a significant amount of time doing music.
And I ain't saying that if I ruled the world that everything will be better, cause a man-made utopia would make man fed up.
So what are you doing in order to stay, I mean, like you talk about reading books and whatnot, but to stay relevant music-wise, who are your musical influences right now?
I'm listening to a lot of different music. I'm really excited about just the stuff within my own genre. Guys like High Society, Sho Baraka and J.R. Swoop. Guys like Lecrae, Mr. J. Medeiros. You have some really, really cool stuff coming out that is very exciting. I'm a big fan of Shad. And so I think there's this move in hip-hop music of, positive music, uplifting, encouraging music that's from a biblical worldview. That's kind of here to challenge the status quo, but it's no longer corny and it's no longer cheesy. That it's like accepted and relevant and has the same platform as the other stuff. And so I'm really excited about that. I think we've seen that in other genres. We just haven't seen it in hip hop yet. And I think we're about to see a huge resurgence of it. If you look at bands like Mute Math, Switchfoot, POD, those types of bands from over the years that have done that, made an impact in culture, in music. And I think we're about to see this wave of just hip-hop acts like killing it on a mainstream level. And so a lot of that stuff is super exciting. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. Again, Lecrae, D1, who's another dope artist. And so I keep up with everything. Mainstream stuff, I'm up on everything. I listen to everything. I got a Rhapsody account, and I'm up on Drake and The Roots and Big Sean and the Watch the Throne, Jay-Z, Kanye, all that kind of stuff. I just love music. I listen to a lot of all kinds of different genres. I'm not a music snob who thinks that everybody has to make music the way I do. I like everything.
How do you stay true to you? Meaning, it becomes really easy to become a copycat and to try to sound like somebody else and be somebody else. How do you stay true to you? And in your advice for any artists out there that are listening?
I think staying true to yourself really goes back to the why, and why the breaks. Why should you listen to our music? What makes us unique? What makes us, who we are? And I think once you discover and you know that why, and it's not an instant thing. It took us a while to discover our why. Once you discover your why, then you just have to reaffirm that why. The scriptures say, without vision the people will perish. So constantly communicating our vision, constantly communicating what is it that makes us different from a vision standpoint, and what makes us different about our story. So that's a lot of that. It's just knowing your story, knowing what makes you different, and communicating that all the time. You have to communicate your vision and your story to the point where you're sick of it and you're tired of it. But you forget that people haven't heard. Not everybody knows what it is. So it's constantly reaffirming this is why we do. And even in music, we do a lot of this is why we are who we are. This is what makes us different, and that is a theme in our music a lot of times as well.
Boom, appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ruslan.
Breaks.
Think International, we out.
Started at the bottom, see before we're gonna come, but we haven't arrived yet, no, we'll never arrive yet, I know you think that I'm a star when you see me,
and that is a theme in our music a lot of times as well.
That's great. Thanks so much, Ruslan. Appreciate it, bro. Oh, let's do that again. We gotta do that again, dude. What happened? This was lame, dude. It's like one of those. That was awkward. All right, cool.